No.
Well, all right,
Oh,
y'all.
dang, everybody
Mr.
just
High
pop
Value
in.
Horace. Anybody got time for you with this nonsense? Hi, you guys, and welcome back. We had to move the show to a week. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking out with us and being patient and all that stuff. So tonight, I'm excited about this topic. Actually, this is a viewer topic. So thank you. You know who you are for sending in this topic. This person sent this topic to me, and they were like, I'm very interested in hearing what the men have to say about this, but when is it too soon to talk about money and finances in a relationship? I think that sometimes, there's obviously, those moments when sometimes it seems like, oh, it might be a little too soon to jump the gun and be talking about money and finance in a relationship. But when is it too soon? Is there ever a right time to talk about money in a relationship? So that's what we're talking about tonight. And I want to get on it too and take it to another step and talk about, what are some of the barriers? What are some of the things that you establishing your relationship when it comes to money and finance? There's a new thing that talks about, I think everybody has seen that meme. I've seen it everywhere. I think we have a conversation at Ringside going on about significant others.
Yeah.
I can't. And so I've seen that everywhere. And I wish I might sign if the other person can't. What we're not going to do is get with somebody that's got bad credit or doesn't know how to manage money. You cannot
don't do it
anywhere in life if you don't know how to manage money. And you need to have a conversation. If you got bad credit and you having issues, you need to have a plan to fix that stuff, like out the gate. Ain't nobody got time to be dealing with people because you'll never have anything and never be able to really enjoy life like that. So that's what we're getting into tonight on this conversation about the money factor in relationships. And I'm going to start with the high value man, Horace Towns, because we ain't seen Tony in forever. Because he been in meetings and all of that kind of carrying on, but he got to do what he got to do. So, calling to the carpet, Mr. High Value Man.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while for sure.
It's been a while. You got your earbuds? Because I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
It ain't me.
It ain't me because I ain't got nothing on.
I think
I don't hear echo.
I hear the echo, but I don't have anything else playing.
Listen to this. Hold on.
Go ahead. Horace?
No, I was proving it wasn't me. No, I think it's a valid thing. You at this point in life, man, everything you've experienced enough dates to know what you're looking for, what you can tolerate, what you cannot. And I think that's a valid question. I mean, that's something that I established from the get-go. That's what I do. I talk about it from the get-go.
Why is it so important to you to talk about it from the beginning?
Because you're at a point where you don't want to waste time, and also you want to avoid what we call liabilities. You can like somebody, but you've been disciplined and you've done what you're supposed to do in your life, and you don't want emotions or feelings to compromise. You can be compromised. You can like someone and realize that it's not good for you in the long run.
Okay, I can see that, because why get with somebody if you feel like, you know what I mean, you in too deep and they got issues beyond what you can manage. Because to be honest, finances are a deal breaker for a lot of people. Like, it's a huge deal breaker. And it's not just, when it comes to dating at your level, it's not just how much you pull it in, because you can pull in $100,000 and stay broke. Or you can also pull in $20,000 and be rich.
And there's some people
who live, manage your money.
And there's people who live with their parents and they got no bills, but they car note, and they still broke. And then they complain all weekend that they can't go places.
True. Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot to say about this topic, but I'm gonna let everybody get their little.
Hey Pip, how you doing, love? Good to see everybody. It's weird. We ain't been together. Hey Reggie. We ain't been together in a while. Miss everybody. So Troy, what are your thoughts? Because this came up a little bit briefly last year when we first started having these conversations. But I know you in ringside in that meme about the whole sign if I can't. I saw your response, and I know we all kind of have heard what your thoughts about. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, never do that again.
With your ex-wife. What are your thoughts for you if you could go back and do it again? When would you introduce that conversation about money?
I would definitely introduce the conversation once we started making decisions where each other's finances affected the other. And that's just my overall belief system anyway, because I feel like if we're just casually dating, then, my policy is you don't need to know how much I make. You don't even need to know the full details of what I do, because I wouldn't want my salary to be a determination whether or not you call me back.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of when we start talking about money, if we're beginning to make decisions where my decision will affect your bank account and vice versa, then we need to have those serious conversations. So if I can go back in time, if I had a DeLorean and I can, speed back to 2000 clickety clack, I would definitely pull myself out of that car dealership and say, don't you co-sign?
Yeah.
And so, but we live and we learn, and definitely took me a while to get back right and get my credit back the way it should be. But at the end of the day, going forward, if we're not making those decisions, if what I do is not affecting your bag, then don't worry about, my money moves or what I'm making or my W-2s. It's none of your business. But once we start getting serious and make some serious moves together collectively, then we can sit down and have those conversations about. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's a very powerful statement, but like when you're
Jeff,
dating,
I think it's you because everybody else is on mute.
Testing.
Yeah.
How though?
Is there someone near you that has their phone on? I don't know. Let's try it.
Testing.
Yeah.
It's me?
No, it might be Troy. Troy, unmute.
It is Troy.
Hello.
Testing.
Troy, it is you.
Oh, this is a new This is a new work laptop. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, it is you. Okay, so it is you. You need headphones.
My bad.
It is you. That's what it is. Okay, but
all right. Let me see if I can find some headphones.
Yeah,
well, I have a question for you, but listen while you get mute.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, for instance, if you're dating someone, right, and you want to go on a trip, let's say the Virgin Islands or Dubai or something. First, let me ask you, who pays for it? Or anyone? Okay, what I'm saying is you guys are saying it doesn't matter what you make and all that stuff, but usually what I'm trying to say is before you even get to that point, there are a lot of telltale signs anyway.
Right.
What someone's situation is. And usually it's when you talk about certain finances or fancy restaurants. I mean, you guys know what I believe in. I always pay.
I'm prepared to pay. Let me say it like this. I'm prepared to pay. I actually have a conversation going on in one of Horace's posts on Instagram with a gentleman about, women. If a woman asks a guy out, does she pay or does the man pay?
The man.
I am prepared to pay. I had a seasoned gentleman. He was actually a pastor at one of my churches in Virginia. And we were having a conversation. He said, it's okay for a woman to ask a guy out. There's nothing wrong. You can ask a guy out to coffee. You can ask him out to certain things. And he said, but a real man is just not going to let that woman pay. And I was just like, I understand that, but I also understand that there are some people who have different mindset. You're good.
Okay.
So for me, I'm prepared to pay, even if it's a situation where
even if it's a trip, even like a trip or something. I'm talking about a trip, not going out to dinner.
I don't have a problem paying for myself. I'm prepared to pay
because
I'm not gonna get stuck. I remember First of all, I ain't going on no trip just with anybody. I don't care how long we've been dating. That's just not what I do. But you know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's just I'm not gonna be no statistic. You ain't gonna find my body buried nowhere. But that's just me. But I'm prepared to pay for me regardless. I don't care if it's a date or a trip. that's just,
Let me
I
ask you
don't, I don't
guys
need to
something.
get flued out.
Let me ask you something. I actually was in a group that had this conversation. It was a bunch of women, and I mentioned that no, I would always pay, and the women got offense to that, saying, "See, this is why men have trouble dealing with successful women." And I was like, "What does that have to do
And
with
that
it?"
narrative.
Right.
So, but that was a conversation that I got attacked on by a group of like 4 women. I was like, and it was
Why
like,
do
you
you
have a problem
Shit,
with men
I
paying
love a
bills.
successful woman.
I said the same thing, and I couldn't tie me wanting to pay for the meal compared to her. You know, like they took it somewhere else, and it's confusing at times. To be
because
honest.
they've probably been rejected from it and it triggered something. That's all that was.
Right,
I was
but
gonna
I
say,
would say
because I
this:
don't get it. I was
this
gonna
whole
say, I
topic.
don't get that. To me, I don't care if I'm successful or not. I'm my attitude as a successful Black woman is I'm prepared to prepare the table that I want to dine at. So whether I want to travel somewhere, what is not dependent upon no man. A man is not a financial plan to me.
That's why I like you, Dr. H.
My attitude is a man is not a financial plan. I was not raised to treat a man as a financial plan. So I don't understand.
I'm kind of the same way, Dr. H.
I don't understand the mentality that some women, I'm going to say all women, but some women have of seeing a man as a financial plan, because I know some women who tried that and that didn't work. And then they end up hitting a reset button because that man throw them a couple dollars and get a divorce. And now you got to start your life over because you ain't got a leg to stand on because you use that man as a financial plan. You washed up and used up and don't know other man wants you because you got kids and all this other kind of carrying on. What else are you offering? So to me, I have never saw men as a financial plan. I think that it's a matter of I'm looking for somebody I can build with, not on.
Right.
There's a difference between building on somebody and building
with someone.
I would prepare to build with somebody.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you build on somebody and that on is gone and you fall into it?
I'm not doing that because I agree with you, Dr. H, because that's what I saw growing up, and that's actually my mentality. Because in my last, with my ex-wife, when she and I first started dating, the only time I paid for everything, there was a period where I paid for every single thing, and that was when she was unemployed. When she got laid off, and she moved in with me, I literally paid for everything because she didn't have any money.
Right.
Once she started working, she definitely started,
You're stepping up a support system. There's nothing wrong with that.
But even when she was working, because with the exception of the first maybe 3 years of our relationship, after that, my ex, she was making more than me, but we were treating each other. My ex, she and I were notorious for, I treated her to dinner, she treated me to dinners, all that stuff. There were certain trips where I paid for everything. There were certain trips where she paid the bulk of it, or if I paid for both tickets, she paid for the hotel. That was always a partnership I was raised with. And honestly, every woman I've dated had that mentality. Well, it's also because I've met women who did tell me that early on. I've definitely met women who were transparent and said, when I'm with a man, he's supposed to pay for everything, so on and so forth. And when I hear that, that's 3 strikes right there. I don't even call women like that back. I unfriend women like that because I'm like, why?
Do you think that they're being gold diggers? Because you guys, and I know we've talked about this on a different show before, but you guys know where I stand on this.
Right.
I don't believe if I'm dating you, I'm paying, and make more than me or anything, we're not. It's not going to work. We could be good friends, and I will support any endeavor you do, but not in my house.
Yeah.
But with that said, do you think that they're a gold digger or something, or you just feel like they don't respect you? Is that why you kind of throw them away? Not throw them away, but I'm interested.
Ooh. It's one of those things where I just shrink up immediately whenever I hear, a real man is supposed to pay for everything from a woman because men are supposed to be providers, so on and so forth. And I'm like, so why am I paying for everything if we both are gainfully employed? You make just as much money as I do, maybe more. Do I need to actually pay you or pay everything just to show I'm a real man? I'm like, I'm a real man, regardless of which bill I pay. You know what I mean? Like, our metrics may be different, but I'm a real man no matter what. So regardless if I pay all the bills or I pay some, she pays some, that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, when women throw out the whole provider thing, if your mind first goes to money, when you hear the word provider, then we already not on the same page. But being provider means so much more than just pays all the bills. A man could come to your house and pay all the bills. That don't mean he's going to be an effective leader. Doesn't mean that he's going to have your interest, and doesn't mean he's going to have great character. He can just pay all the bills, and that's it. So there's a lot more that goes into being a provider other than just who is paying all the bills. It's actually a very small. So, but I recognize everybody is different, different households.
I just think I don't believe in submissive in a heterosexual relationship. I don't think it's such thing as a submissive man, and I do think that if that is, and I know I'm just stepping on toes saying this, I don't care, but if I do think that if you are with a woman and she's making more or paying for you, or in that case, I think that makes you less of a man, and I do think that makes you a submissive man. And I don't think.
Well, here's the thing: it's not much. Well, it's pretty easy to step on my toes. I wear a size 14, so they're kind of all over the place. But I made this remark in ringside several times. You know, when I believe in a marriage, we're both submissive to one another. All goes back to, and I've said this, how it all boils down to how that man views women. Because I view women a certain way. I've been looking for a woman who's a partner. My woman is not beneath me. She is not behind me. Her throne sits next to my throne. So I can submit to her and she submits to me. And
I see what you're saying, but submissive is not a bad word. But I get it.
But I mean, everybody, it
doesn't mean less than.
You know, for me, it's like, you know, and I've said this before, not because I agree with my cousin Mickey. He and I have kind of the same mindset. If I'm with a woman who sees me as a real man, other opinions don't matter. I've definitely been in a situation where my wife saw me as a real man and other people didn't. I'm like, well, the woman.
What matters is how she feels.
That's all that matters.
What matters is what she feels.
I think you're both right. I think that a big part of it is definitely how you view each other. When we start talking about, you know, finances and money and a lot of different things and how we treat each other in a relationship, when it comes to that, a lot of it does have to do with how you view the other person, how you view male, female, gender roles, all this other kind of stuff. And I know that sometimes that's not something that we want to get into. I know it's Pride Month, all of this other kind of stuff, and people are anti-gender role and all this other kind of stuff. I don't care about any of that. I think that it boils down to, do you respect the other person? But Jeff made a good point on sometimes some behaviors are a red flag for people. When he raised the point about, do you see that woman as a gold digger when she does or when she expects? Because, you know, we have the city girl mentality, but we also have the city boy mentality. So there's two things going on. So all of us are in different, you know, some overlapping generations, but we all different generations view things a certain way. In my comment with the guy in Horace's post on Instagram, what I was trying to explain to him was this man who was talking to me about, you know, the man's role and how he, you know, provides. The guy was saying how the man was compensating and he didn't have anything other than money to depend on. And I was like, I can't agree with that, because older generations, it wasn't just about money. Like money was all they had. No, that man believed in also protecting women and children at any. It didn't matter if it was his woman or child or not. He also didn't believe in a woman touching a door handle, meaning I don't care who you are. As a woman, if I'm around, you better not open the door. You better not touch a handle and open the door for yourself.
That's me.
Wait. So
that's exactly who I am.
You're saying you don't want someone to open the door for you?
No. What I was saying is, I was explaining to the guy in my comment, in my response, was that the gentleman, his comment was, oh, that man don't have anything but money to offer. And I was explaining to him this is a different generation of a man. I said, when I say this is a seasoned gentleman, this is a man from a different generation who believes very much that a woman better not touch a door to open the door for herself. I was trying to explain to him that when you have different generations, you can't say that the man paying for everything means all he has to offer is money, because
No.
that's not necessarily the
Please,
truth.
no.
So different generations have different mindsets of what it means, you know, for men to pay for everything, or, you know, when it comes to money and finances. Some men believe that the woman's money is her money versus,
Well, I was
you
going
know,
to say
different things.
some women.
I
Yeah.
respect different perspectives. To me, when we get
Yeah.
to that point in a relationship where we're having that conversation, we need to define the financial roles of what you expect financially in the household, because that's a deal. It might be a deal breaker. There might be something in that conversation that might make me step back and say, okay, I don't know if I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. And again, I think it depends on how we view each other and how people see each other in a relationship. So I want to get Piff in the conversation. Hey, girl.
Yeah,
hey.
she's been quiet. Because you've been
I'm
down
gonna
there
get
making faces.
We're gonna get to your question in just a moment, because that's a valid question. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. I see Jeff already answered it, but go ahead, Piff. I want to get your thoughts on, you know, when it comes to a relationship, when do you feel comfortable having that conversation about money and finances, and what are some of your expectations, if at all, when it comes to money and finance in a relationship?
I don't think y'all gonna like my answer.
You say it. I
Who
mean, just
cares
be
if
honest.
you like it or not? If you could stand firm on your belief, it's all good.
All right, so I need everybody to sit back.
Vintage.
Get
Piff.
ready.
Let me hit
Get
mute.
ready. Get ready.
I'm hitting mute.
Know what she said.
Don't hit mute. It ain't that bad. I take care of myself.
Meaning, so when I mutter comments, you won't hear me. I'm just playing.
Oh, okay. No, my perspective is I take care of myself. If I walk through life expecting anyone, it doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
If I walk through life waiting for someone to take care of me, that's not a good thing. What am I doing out here? And I'm very independent. You know, but that's who my mother raised me to be. She said, no one owns you for not even 2 pennies.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, for me, it's not necessarily conversation. I watch and I listen. I think a lot of the time there's like, oh, well, why don't you have money for this? Or I don't need to ask you. You're going to tell me that you don't have money for things, right? Mm-hmm. If you watch and you just listen to how someone moves, and you can then determine whether or not you want to move forward with someone. It's not, I kind of feel like we don't need to make someone feel bad because they don't know how to move in life. Mm-hmm. And if they don't fit what you're looking for, then you can quietly move on without saying horrible things to them. But again, I'm just different. You know, I like I said, I just take care of myself. If I want a luxury car, I bought it. I've teased Horace about, you know, like sugar daddy stuff, right? He knows it was a joke. He knows it was a joke because I take care of myself. Like even when Horace took us out to dinner that night, I was like, oh, how much money do I have?
Right.
Then when you're like, no, Horace is paying, I was like, wait a minute, what? Because the way that I was raised was you always make sure that you have money to pay for yourself. You don't
believe me, I was with you because I had my coin in my purse.
But you just don't know.
Are you saying that in case the man puts them out or something?
No,
it's not even that. Like some people, like, okay, for instance, this is just kind of a shot in the dark. Maybe you made a payment to your credit card and maybe it didn't post. That's not bad intention, right? Oh. I don't go out with someone under the impression of they're trying to take me out and leave me at the restaurant high and dry. And even if they try to, I have a credit card
and Uber
that I will use, but then you will also be blocked. So,
Yeah, that's foul.
but I mean, but the thing is, Horace did pay.
Yeah.
Now he didn't have to. He really could have said, "Piff, your bill is."
Right.
Tanya, your bill is, and I would have been like, okay, cool, because we're friends. We're not
Right.
dating. We're not, you know what I'm saying? I just don't think you should walk through life, man, woman, whatever, expecting someone to act like they are, I don't know, Bill Gates.
People
Well,
are not people.
So that's
I
what I was
think
going
that
to ask you.
people,
Oh,
you
go ahead.
gotta
I'm sorry.
stop seeing people as like I said, as a financial plan. And I think that we see a lot of people now that have this entitlement attitude that that I'm worth you paying for my lifestyle. And it's like, but are you worth caring for your own lifestyle? You know what I mean? Like
I think the mentality of
City girl.
like I feel like there's a weird gender role mentality happening these
City girl.
days.
I
wouldn't necessarily say a city girl. I mean, that is a thing, but that's not what I'm talking about. I think that now, like, there are more women staying at home again with the children. There are these things that are happening again that were happening before.
Yes.
And now it could just be where I'm at. Okay, so don't hurt me. I could be wrong, but I do see more stay-at-home moms. I do see the dad being the breadwinner, and I see this traditional family again.
And those marriages have lower divorce rate, way lower.
For a different reason, but yeah, you're right. They do.
I do see it again, so I don't know. Again, I don't know what. I don't know what's has spurred this. Now, it doesn't mean that the woman staying at home isn't making money in some way, but I just see
dog walkers.
There's people working remotely now. They're staying home with their children. There's just a lot of family dynamic shifts, and I just think you just need to watch how someone moves. They're going to tell you, I missed a credit card payment. Okay, that could be one mistake. If this happens every month that you're missing your credit card payment, that is a habit. Do you want that in your life? Is that okay for you?
Right. I wish I paid attention to that 10 years ago.
I agree with you, Pip. Though that's
you don't have to say or have I don't know. I just feel like I don't need to have a conversation about your finances because I've been watching. And I know.
I agree. There are telltale signs. Don't ignore the red flags, people.
Right.
That's where you get yourself in trouble. Sometimes I know the Bible says love covers, but it doesn't mean be stupid and blind. You need to still pay attention to certain things, but you got to exercise wisdom. The Bible also talks about wisdom. You got to exercise wisdom. What is wisdom? Right use of knowledge. If you got knowledge of something and you're aware of something, it's your responsibility to make the right decisions to move accordingly. If there are some things that are deal breakers for you, don't compromise on that. Don't compromise on that. And when it comes to money and finance, you're gonna find yourself in divorce court because it's one of them things that you can't play around with money and finance. People go nuts over that. Go ahead, Troy.
It goes back to what I originally said though, and Troy said, but I was saying emotions. When you're younger, man, you got the emotions. Y'all like her, and it's good. You feel good when you're around them, but you know all the stuff, the growth factors, the stuff that you have to think about as a couple. Like, together, can we save $1,000 together? If I'm making money, what is she doing? What are her spending practices? What are her?
Let me interject really quickly because I have a different mindset because I live in one of the most pretentious cities in the country, where everybody's flexing on the gram and living their best life. I'll say one thing.
Not more than here.
Huh?
No.
Here.
I have a lot of friends in Atlanta. He's telling the truth.
It's worse than here.
It's 50 times worse because people here actually are professionals for the most part and have their stuff together. I'm not. This is not a stereotype at Atlanta. It's just
I'm not originally from Atlanta. I don't care.
I know what you mean, but I'm just saying it's a different world.
Don't
Okay.
need words left. Be careful, please.
But
I listen. I need to listen. Them words that are about to come out your mouth. I feel.
So I'm gonna say this because I don't want Horace to get in trouble. So I'm gonna block.
Go ahead.
You know, salary here doesn't mean shit because you also, you know, a person can say they make $100,000, but they don't tell you school debt, they don't tell you credit card debt or default loans, everything else.
Or they're lying.
Fact of the matter is, when I was married, the majority of the time, my wife made more money than me, but I had more money because I had significantly less debt than she did.
I was gonna say the debt to income ratio matters.
Right. She had her debt to income ratio was terrible, whereas extremely minimal.
Yeah.
So salary wise, she made more. She was up here and I was right here, but I had money in the account.
Right.
And so
that's important, Troy, because not just debt to income, but that affects credit and
affects have better credit
to make long-term financial plans where you can grow and have really a legacy, like equity in a home, and really planning for the future to have more that you can, you know, make it investments. Because if your debt to income ratio is out of whack, you can't do nothing. Like
right.
Really
and also, you know, you can. I understand looking at red flags because I know I was blind to certain red flags and I should have pointed them out. But you can't look at people's spending habits and think because they wear expensive clothes, drive a luxury car, they good. Like no, because you got. And I know from observation, I have friends, I have frat brothers like this that live way above their means. Everything is designer, everything is top shit, but they stay broke.
Yeah,
they got money for certain things, but they broke in terms of the bills. You know, so somebody's priorities. So, you know, a person who may not travel that often, who may not always wear name brand, doesn't mean they broke.
Right.
It's just like they're frugal. One of my friends will literally buy a plane ticket. We're planning a trip to DR in a few months, and literally bought his ticket in January. Paid a round trip $180. We're going to be probably spending way more than that, but that's that might be me. It was fine.
But I wanna get to this point, this question that's because y'all, I want to shout out our viewers. Y'all are amazing. Keep it coming because y'all wrote it in the comments. But I want to get to this question that Scott Lucius posted a while back, a while back. But he said, does the church play a major role in shaping views and attitudes about financial roles among those who date and marry? And Jeff's comment, I think you said that it shaped you in a good bit. But Horace, how did it shape you in any capacity? I can tell you right now, originally, I did not grow up going to church or church.
Wasn't me.
So
I didn't go to church.
Shape me at all. Now I have a better understanding of how money works and the importance of tithing and certain things. But in the beginning, like early stages of my life, the church did not have an influence on my money, you know, financial roles or any of that. And looking at my parents' relationships and dynamics and all of that, the church didn't have the church did not influence for me. I can say it was a no. But Jeff said, put his response to the comment. But Horace, what about you?
Well, I would say this. I would say that we say it's the church, but I think it's more culture. Because growing up, you know, the egotistical thing is men. You will hear men shout this to other men, you know, about what a man is supposed to do, and this is his role. And if you're not doing this and that, you ain't no man, and yada yada yada. Then I got older and found out that some of those same men that was yapping that grandma was keeping their secrets. You know, it was grandma that was holding it down, and he was full of crap. You know, but that I wouldn't say the church. I would say just our culture of manhood, you know, that been hammered into your head. Man is this, man does that. And you know, as far as trying to be a man, you always was talking about the things that you said that they say will damage your manhood. And that was one of them. You couldn't take it, even though I don't believe in a lot of that stuff. If you didn't, you know, just like we said earlier, oh, you're not a real man if you can't pay all the bills and da 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 da. We know that's a traditional saying, but for a couple, everybody has their own dynamic. You know, so I won't say the church, but I will say culture and the tradition growing up. You know, at one time it was easy for a man to manage a household, but hell, nowadays it's almost every person for themselves. You know, it's hard out here for people.
You know, I want to echo something Piff said. Um,
Well, there's
Piff,
plenty of echo already.
huh?
No, you say you want to echo something. There's already plenty of it.
I just, is it me?
I'm not commenting.
My bad, y'all. I'm on
I
my
don't
work
think it's
computer,
you.
which is, it's
I
not
don't
me.
think it
It's you. I don't know what it is. It could be StreamYard though.
Yeah, StreamYard was giving me issues on my last thing last week, so StreamYard is fucked up anyway. But I do want to echo something that Piff sounds a lot like my mom. My mom is still alive today. My mom is 78 years old. And my mom would tell anybody that she would never let my dad pay all the bills. That's not how she was wired. Because my mom, every high, fashion bag and luxury car my mom had, she literally paid for it herself. Because she always said that if you know my mom's personality, she's not about to go to my dad and ask him for money, or she's not about to have a man tell her what she can and can't buy with her money. Everything that she has, all the designer shit that she's ever bought, she's like, I work hard for that. I'll go buy it myself. So, and that's the example of womanhood that I've been seeing all my life. Honestly, I didn't know what a stay-at-home mom was until I moved to Georgia. I was 18 years old the first time I heard about a woman with a college degree staying home. And even at then, at 18, I thought that was a foreign concept because all the women in my family all worked, all had master's degrees, all worked, brought that money home and contributed to the household. So I definitely applaud Biff because I'm like, that's exactly what I like. I love an independent woman. Independent women definitely turn me on more so than the opposite. Women who, like Horace was saying, I'm that city girl mentality, turn off. I don't call women like that back. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how big your booty is or how big your tits are. I'm not calling you back.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I want to get into this question here because Scott Lucius, you've given us the business.
Well, I wanted to answer the other question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I did go to church a lot. So I will say that it did shape me. Because I would watch men walk around with gaiters on. And I'd be like, how much were those shoes? $1,000. $1,000. So the hats, then you got like the whole outfit for one Sunday. I may not see the outfit again until next year. So when you have several of these outfits in the closet, and your kids are going without or whatever, but you have outfits, that's a problem. So I learned early on that people prioritize things very differently. And sometimes food may not be that priority and to look for that. Just saying.
Piff, question for just for everybody. Now, let me ask you this. What if you are at the mall with someone, or a female, what have you, and he sees a bag she likes, and y'all been dating for a month, and the bag's like
1 month, just 1 month,
huh?
just one month.
Okay, let's say 3 months. 3 months, and
Okay.
Valentine's Day is a week away, and you're at the mall, and she sees a nice Louis V bag, $250. Although Louis V is cheap, but you get what I'm trying to say. I didn't say Louis V. So $250 is cheap for Louis V.
You can't get a Louis for $250.
I know. I'm just making it more.
Okay.
He hints that that's something he wants. How do you feel that that's something? And then this is segueing into something else I'm gonna ask. So go ahead.
Do I feel like it's over the top? You mean for that time period? I think it depends on the relationship and how the relationship has been set up. I mean, there's some people that have bought me nice things, and it's like, oh wow. And there's some people that will buy me a bag of gummy bears, and I'm freaking over the moon about it, like they bought me a freaking Louis V bag.
Now, did you,
You know,
ask? Yeah.
for which the gummy bears or the Louis V bag? I don't own any Louis Vuitton. Not one. I don't. It's just not my thing.
Okay.
If I were to get one, then cool. But it's not. I feel like $1,000 on a bag. What? Well, I shouldn't talk. Well, anyway. So Louis Vuitton is. I'm not downing it. It's an amazing designer. But if someone were to buy me something that was $2,000 and they felt so inclined, I'm not going to say they're wrong for that because they felt moved. That's what they wanted to get me. They knew that that's what I liked.
Well, what I'm asking, I guess, because I asked it towards the men more so, but I'm saying the female. So let me ask you guys: if you're dating this girl, you really like her, 3 months in, Valentine's Day is a week from there, and she hints to you, "I want this Louis V bag is cute." Do you go ahead and get it for her, or do you start thinking she's a gold digger? What do you?
Well, if we're already in a relationship, then I know she's not a gold. Well, I'm confident she's not. If I've already invested.
A lot of times they hide it until they get a ring on their finger. Trust me.
Right? Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
It really depends. After 3 months, that's still. We're still in the honeymoon phase. It really depends on our dynamic. How selfless has she been? How kind has she been? Has she been a giver more than a taker, or a taker more than a giver? Because for me, and this has been this way every relationship I've been in, it's extremely easy for me to give to a woman who is selfless. A woman who's always asking or trying to take, it makes me not want to give her shit.
Well, that was the first time. I should have said this is her first time asking for something. Because
I mean, it's the first time that I probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be that big a deal for me. Especially if it's in recognition of, her birthday or Valentine's Day or Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't.
I know that's right, Jeff.
Yeah, I spent that much on jewelry and shit like that, but I spent it on a woman that I knew would do for me.
What about Horace? Horace? Oh, Horace. I know he's quiet like he was last night when the Lakers got put up against elimination. But go ahead.
I missed the question. I'm sorry about that.
A woman asked you.
No, he stepped away when you asked the question.
Okay, I'll make it quick. You're dating this girl for 3 months, and she asked you, did you she walks by a store and sees a Louis V bag or an extravagant bag and it's $250. Do you get it for her, or do you kind of hesitate and be like, okay, like what do you do? And this is segueing into another question.
2 questions. First off, are we having sex? I'm having sex with this person? Well, that's a valid question, Piff.
I agree. And that segues to this question. That cycles back to Scott's question about if your finances is a determining criteria, then do you believe that having sex should happen unless that person meets your criteria? So, Horace, that's a valid question because it leads into what Scott is asking.
Because listen, for one, if I'm buying stuff and I ain't hit it, I probably ain't gonna never hit it. I'm a paymaster at this point. So the question is, am I having sex with her? And 2 is how she asked. Because you do meet people that come off telling you what you have to have and do to date them, and you looking at them like, you got to be kidding me, chick. And I don't even, like Troy said, you don't even call them back. That girl, that Jedi mind trying to play, please. I'm the catch.
I mean, I've met women who felt like because of how they look, because they had nice bodies and this and third, they were entitled to have those demands. And, I'm like, yeah, that's cool and everything, but it don't work on me.
Okay.
It's like Biggie said, I'd rather beat my dick than trick. I'm not going to be a trick for any woman. It's just not going to happen. So That's just not my lane. I don't knock any men how they roll. You know, I know guys who pay for all the gifts and all that shit. I'm like, yo, if that's the arrangement you have with your woman, I say Godspeed. It just wouldn't be me. But I don't put my focus on what the next man is doing in his household. I'm focused on my household.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Speaking of that, this question is going to be interesting. When do you think is appropriate to disclose or discuss salary? And also, hold on. Well, okay, because I'm gonna tell you something. The question, "What do you do for a living?" is a probing question. You guys know that, right?
Playa, I work.
Yeah.
And I
have a very broad my position. My position can be whenever a woman has asked me, my position is so general. It's like I can tell you, but the salary range is so broad. I'm like,
some jobs are like that.
Yeah, so it's like I don't salary. I don't get in specifics. If we're not courting, if we're just dating, but we're not courting, don't worry about what my salary is. I'm not asking you for your salary.
Let me say this. As a woman,
Troy, Jeff, they have already done the background research and all of that. So whether you tell her or not, she's already did some profiling to see what range you're in. She might not know.
First of all, Horace, ain't everybody ain't like the FBI.
Yo,
again, fellas, women are now going to go back and do some basic fact finding features. She's gonna go through your social media. She's gonna see who you're connected to. She's gonna see what you do for work, and then she's gonna say, "Oh well,
LinkedIn
is a manager, professional." He's gonna. Y'all do have boxes that check off. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're right, and they do go to LinkedIn too, or they, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
So
I just kind of feel like if you're doing all that, what do you do for a living? I'm going to answer you. But at the end of the day, Jeff, it's very apparent what you make because you wear a lot of designer.
Let me correct you on that. I know some people, and one of them is actually watching right now. So I'm going to be careful how I say this. I know people who always have the newest, nicest stuff, and I get a call probably once a month asking to help pay something to help them out.
Again, but you're not doing that. So what I'm saying to you is,
okay, true. Okay, so you're saying
not,
okay. You just don't
as
always
someone who lived in the same building, I know I could literally walk down the hall and say, Jeff, I need this, I need that, and I would be fine. I never did that because I take care of myself. But
you brought me toilet paper during the pandemic. If anything, you helped me. I had no toilet paper. He said, Jeff, and you brought me a whole pack. I appreciate that. It will always never be forgotten.
I want to ask a question to on something that Jeff said. I think, but at what point? Let's say you're dating somebody, like you all are seriously dating. It's not just casual, but you're deciding that this is you want to lead to something serious. And it's not even about telling your salary, but you don't mind helping out that person from time to time. At what point do you feel you're enabling their behavior to not manage their finances well? When do you stop? You know what I'm saying? Stop helping and from that regard and say, hey, maybe you need some financial management classes.
The second time you start doing it.
I want to say, I know the scenario when that person, where you see it become a trend, but that person isn't open to you trying to show them. Like I had a situation where I was saying, hey, maybe you should try this, or giving them suggestions on how to get out of that scenario where they check the check or they're repeating and they refuse to listen and they crash and burn. That is where if I'm with someone that's uncoachable, who's not open to listening, then I have zero time. And that happens often. You know what I mean? So you just see them crash and burn. And it's like, no, I don't have time for that.
This is my test. I was dealing with someone before, and I felt like, and this friends do this too, but dealing with someone and they seem to only want to hang out and go to extravagant stuff on their time. I one day said I lost my credit card. I lost it, and it's going to take 3 days to get back to me. That's all I said. I really didn't. I didn't hear from the rest of the day, and then right when it's time to get ready to go, we were going to go. They didn't feel well. And the same thing with even friends. You know, in college, I had a group of 2 friends that I was the only one who had a car. You couldn't have your car in college unless you had a certain amount of credits. And so I had a car. Whenever they want to go to DC, go to Atlanta, whatever, because I was going to school in North Carolina at the time. You know, I was always driving. But then one time I said my car's in the shop for 2 weeks. They still went to where they wanted to go, but they didn't invite me. And said that they assumed that it's because I was dealing with that. They didn't want to burden me. I'm like, okay, but folks you date will do crap like that too. So it's like you're saying, it's the signs you have to see.
Jeff, I'm gonna need you to get some new people around you, bro.
No. I said this is college. I'm not gonna say how long ago. I don't talk to these folks anymore. And I'm not gonna say how long ago this was. So we're gonna leave that comment alone. But I do not deal with that.
I'll say this though: when people show you who they are, even when you're dating them, believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate what Horace said earlier when he said just go ahead and have the conversation kind of early on, because because once feelings get in the way, once that gets involved, it muddies the waters a little bit, because you'll end up making concessions for stuff that you normally would not make concessions for if your feelings weren't involved. So in that regard, I do think that there's a time and a place, and that it's okay to start. I think that it matters how deep of a conversation that you have with money and finance. For instance, I'm not going to, on the first date, say I got a 500 credit score. I do not have a 500 credit score. And that's clear. But I'm just saying. But on the first day, I wouldn't reveal my credit score or even my salary. But, you know, if it looks like we're getting into a situation where, hey, I think I'm vibing with this person. We're on I feel like we might be going somewhere. It's important to at least have what I call surface level conversations, where I'm observing, like Piff says, I'm observing some money habits, but I'm asking questions, because you can't, like Troy said, you can't assume that somebody's spending habits reflects their money management skills. So I might have a conversation about how they feel about investments, or what are their long-term financial plans, different stuff like that, just to kind of feel them out on how they feel about money and finances. Tootie?
What I was going to say is, sometimes you don't have those direct conversations, but I do admit that I do fact finding stuff. You know what I mean? Where I'm questioning, like, how long you been on your job? Just gentle stuff inside the conversation, which for me is like showing some kind of stability. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things you can ask that will give you some insight to the person, not without going direct, like you have a motive, like how much you make and what. But hey, how long you been on your job? You know, asking them. I don't even know how to ask where they reside, but just small stuff and intimate conversation that, you know, you can find out some stuff or get some insight to those persons. Because oftentimes I find that people that talk about those things is almost like a red flag to be like, okay, run. If a person's talking about, you know, money on the first date, or, you know, they're having a trouble or an issue, or, oh, my job stressed me out, or my baby daddy, or I got to move. Like, no, run your ass up out of there.
You make a good point. I had someone
turn off.
I had somebody complain to their friends that I took them to Lido's for
Lido's
first.
Is good.
I literally, and if you go to Lido's, the restaurant, not the little ones where Lido's, for those who don't live here, Lido's is amazing. But it was actually the whole restaurant is very nice. It's a pizza place. Yeah. And I took them, and they were like, you know what, you're really cool, but you're cheap. And I said, excuse me. They were like, you drive such and such type car, and I've seen your pictures on your social media, and you take me to Lido's. I don't mind paying and being the breadwinner and treating, but when I feel like that's the one reason you like me, we have a problem. And I've even been in an engagement before where the same thing happened. Everything was fine. And then when I stopped accommodating or giving financially, and I started holding accountability to know you need to continue to cook, you need to clean more, you have sex with me more, you need to stop acting like this, it was a problem. And so
I got issue with that, Jeff, and this is why I make this comment.
Okay.
If a person is ungrateful, move on. Because first of all, it's not
Oh.
to me. It should be more about the company. The date isn't about the food
Right.
and how much you spend.
That's why I don't go
It's
to the
on
movies
your
for a
focus
date.
should be on the other person. I don't care. Listen,
Yeah.
like Piff says, you can buy an expensive gift or give me a bag of gummy bears and I'll be over the moon about them gummy bears, right? I'm the same way. We ain't always got to be Morton's or Capital City Chop House, or it ain't always got to be a $500 meal. I might be happy with you taking me to Lido's because it is the bomb.
Listen,
or the
if you bring some good $100 steaks home, I will cook that stuff up better than they do.
Company.
Listen.
So
Yeah.
I think that people's response to how you are investing in the relationship, because it ain't always money, but that's a red flag. Like Horace was saying, some stuff is a red flag. If you're gonna be ungrateful because somebody taking you to Lido's, like Lido's ain't good.
Lido's is good.
Yeah, being ungrateful. You didn't pay for it.
Like, I don't understand. Be grateful.
Like, you're not paying for it. You ungrateful.
Time and space with you. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
we got a problem at that point. I mean, personally, when I think back to many of my dates, my best dates, and I do meet the people that know me know I'm telling the truth. The best dates I've always had have been at moderately priced restaurants. I've had some bad dates here in Atlanta where I tried to impress a woman and spend $150, $200, and we never talk again. Or her conversation was dry. Her conversation was 1-2 word answers, no questions. I'm like, okay, this was clearly a waste of money and waste of my time. But I've had some bomb dates at burger places, at pizza places that, so
but
it's
you know
not.
what? At those places, that's where people can actually feel, to me, more open. Where
Right.
if you go to, if you take me to a restaurant where I gotta worry about which fork I gotta use, that adds a whole extra level of pressure to me. I may not be who I normally am. You take me to Lido's, or you take me to, like,
Absolutely.
I just kind of feel like at some point you either need to value people for who they are, like as a person, and try to get to know a person, or if you're gonna go the route of hot messness, because I call all of what y'all are mentioning a whole lot of hot mess, just go that route, and you just got to be happy with what you're dealing with. But if you want to try to get to know a person and value them for who they are, that the money stuff, it's gonna flush itself out. It's gonna figure itself out, because at the end of the day, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work, and if it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work. Just my little half a cent.
I want to ask you guys about credit scores real quick, because I think that's a big part about how you build a future with somebody. What are some deal breakers from you? Let's say you dating somebody, like y'all serious, like all of that. At what point do you have the conversation about credit scores? And the second part to this is bank accounts. Do you merge? Do you have one singular bank account or more than one? Because, just at what point do you decide to divide and conquer, or, merge and conquer? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I've been through this. So as far as the credit, first of all, if we're getting a house or something, it's in my name. I need to know you're there for love. I need to know that you're there for me. It's going to be in my name. Period. But if we want to get a vehicle together, a family vehicle or a Tahoe or something for all the kids and the dogs or whatever, and that's something that we need to get that's pricey, I don't mind doing a cosign. But if your credit score is going to make the APR go higher or something, I don't want you on it. I don't play with my credit. I know people who've been unemployed who have a 700 something credit score and walked out with a nice car because you show responsibility. And the second part, I'm going to have my own bank account. We can have a joint one where we do trips or big life decisions together, like vacations or buying a home, whatever, where we get 10% of our check or 15% of our check go to that account. But my money is my money. You ain't touching it. And you ain't draining my bank account when you have an issue with me.
Young one.
This is my answers.
Young one. That's
What?
the young guy. Things are a little different when you're younger, but you're not too far off. For one, I've never had a bank account with anybody. I've heard too many horror stories.
Man.
A woman knows she about to leave, so that's the first thing she pack up and go. Men and women. So I've heard stories. I've never done that. But I think the thing that I probably would have an issue with as far as credit, again, is when you cannot. I'm a plan person. My strength, if I have a strength, I'm sharing it. If I have a weakness, I'm open to it. But you meet people that are not open. They're too prideful, or, they want help, but they don't want to let you in. So the deal breaker is when I can have someone, I'm in a better situation. I want to help them without becoming a liability. But when I'm trying to help and I find out that they're uncoachable, that is where it's a deal breaker, because I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to show you how to get this card and pay off this. And, credit is a formula. But when I'm trying to give this person some stuff that helped me get into the situation I am, and I don't see them capitalize or utilize what I'm giving them, and their condition remains, then hell, if I can't even get you to do the simple things, what are we going to do in life together on big things? We can't build. We can't grow.
Horace, I have a rebuttal to that.
I know.
So let me tell y'all a little secret. Y'all don't know. No one in the show knows but Horace. So I called Horace. He was like, Piff, you need to invest. I said, great, Horace. I will invest my money. I have some money that I'm going to invest. Okay. Horace says, now, Piff, just download this app and do this, and da-da-da-da-da. So I don't know what it was. I was typing some stuff in wrong or whatever. I finally got the app to work, and Horace was like, Piff, are you sure you are who you say you are? Whatever. Moving them right along. Horace says, Piff, let me give you the 6 or 7 stocks I invest in to make sure you make money. Okay, Horace, I wait. Day passes, don't hear nothing from Horace. Week passes, don't hear nothing from Horace. My money is sitting in this thing doing nothing. A whole lot of nothing. Now I text Horace back. I said, Horace, I know you're busy, Horace. I know you got this city council thing. You're doing this, you're doing that. Can you just tell me what I need to invest in? Do you know I heard the crickets from across the world before I heard Horace?
Can I get a disclaimer to that?
No. You cannot interrupt. I'm telling this story. I am telling it right. So then I'm like, look, Horace has let me down, people. It's been weeks. My money's just sitting here collecting dust. I'm like, listen, I'm trying to pull my Cardi B. I'm trying to make money moves. All right, Bodak Yellow style. I didn't ask Horace for none of the money that's in this thing. Do you know Horace, even till this day, Horace has not given me the stocks that I should have invested in? Do you know it has been 5 or 6 months? Horace has not even given nothing, y'all, nothing. There is.
Cut her mic.
Honey, let me tell you something. The cicadas are louder than what Horace gave me. I have gotten nothing from Horace. I feel a way about this. I am saying it publicly, Horace. You let me down. Coachable? Yes. You can't ask for coachable if you don't coach. You got a whole team, but then you don't coach. Help me understand. So listen, Horace, you say what you want. Then you get an opportunity, then you just let it fly down the drain. And I'm calling you out because I'm still waiting on my doggone shirt from Horace too, girl. Don't hold your breath. The cicadas are gonna be louder than Horace, and you're gonna get that shirt when you're gone. You're gonna be melted The sun is gone into a supernova. I mean, it's just been a lot. Horace, I'm putting you out there publicly. I hope all your what is his show called? I hope all your boys come for you on next week's show, because I'm letting you know right now publicly for the whole world to know that you let me down. By the way, people, I invested $300 on my own, not knowing a doggone thing, and I tripled my money. I made 900.
Okay, so I
Wow.
want to say to the Black Super Friends, I have
just
been
ain't
waiting
man.
on my T-shirt. I've been trying to support.
Can
But
I
I've
can
been
I just
waiting
have a
forever.
minute? Can I have a rebuttal for 1 minute? First of all, Dr.
No.
H and Piff, Trey will
No.
co-sign on me.
No,
I have
don't
to get
say.
a reorder. You guys were blessed with the spirit of abundance on the top. Okay, I need to get size shirts that fit. You guys have mango.
Oh, so what you're saying is that
So
we
you
can't
asked
fit
me
the
for
shirt.
my
You're
size.
trying to
I
call
told
me
you my
fat now.
size, and you
I
still,
said big
I'm
breasted.
still waiting.
I said mango season. Okay. Second of all, when you wanted to jump into the stocks, I would not lose your money. The stocks had you missed that season. I'm in crypto. You want to take some money now? Buy ETH. Don't buy Dodge. Buy ETH and buy Cardano coin. Those are my suggestions for you. No, I didn't call you back about stocks. You should have reminded me, but the stock market, you guys missed that. I made a killing. I was posting it on Facebook and Instagram. So listen, I don't want, this is exhibit A of what I'm talking about. Uncoachable. Could have reached back out.
Really, really,
Victimization.
me,
Victimization.
uncoachable,
This
me.
show is going sideways, Dr. H, and I will not be attacked on this platform.
I'm just,
Oh,
Listen,
listen. Wait a
I
minute.
just
Wait
want
a
to
minute,
know
Dr. H.
how did this conversation get here? What's that to do with anything? Because
Pitt's
that
been holding that in for months.
because
She's ignoring the fact
people
that they're
people
both
do that on
very
mine.
blessed
They
on
wait.
the top up here, and we need shirts
Yeah.
that can accommodate those mangoes that they have.
Wait, I'm talking about the coachable
but
situation.
my ringside
Listen,
shirt fits just perfect. So anyway,
My fellas,
but anyway,
got my back.
back to the conversation.
Yeah, because that was
Pitt, I'll deal
um,
with her later.
yeah, but back
whatever.
to the conversation at hand. I do think that I do think that when emotions do get involved, seriously though, when emotions get involved, it does muddy the conversation when it comes to relationships and money. So I do think that what you said earlier, Horace, about having that conversation early before emotions get involved, because it's things that you will compromise on once your feelings get involved versus that you wouldn't if you had the conversation kind of early on. When it comes to your credit score and stuff like that and combining bank accounts, I am an advocate, okay, for separate accounts. Like I'm an advocate for having separate accounts, and I think it's for the same reason that Horace was saying. You know, if you think that relationship finna be, about to be out the window, whether you think you about to have a divorce or not, you don't want nobody siphoning money out of that or whatever the case may be, and they're leaving you high and dry. I mean, I could be wrong, but hey. But I think that there are some instances where you really have to think about how you approach combining your assets. Like, it's more than just your bank account and your finances, but you got to think about your credit, and you got to think about life insurance and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So gentlemen, just
I will say this too, and then I have to roll in a second because it looks like it's about to be a hurricane outside.
Oh Lord.
Not literally, but I gotta run. But I was gonna say this too, whether female, male, I think if your finances are not in order, whether you want to be the breadwinner or equal, I don't think you should be getting into a relationship anyway until you have that together. That's just, if you've been through a divorce, and take my advice, and you went from an 800 credit score to 430 because you have some gold digging heifer who used you, drained your bank accounts, opened up accounts, and lied, and you couldn't get anything for yourself, you need to fix that first before you jump into anything else seriously or make serious decisions. That's just my advice. Trust me on that.
That's smart. I agree. That's smart. Troy, what are your thoughts? We're going to close out a little early tonight because everybody has some things going on. But I do think that this was a great conversation. And That's some good advice though, because at the end of the day, before you jump into, there's definitely stuff that you can learn from, your situations when it's time to rebuild yourself. Do just that, but walk in wisdom. Don't just kind of throw all of that away. It's some people who don't learn from their lessons. They go right back in and make the same mistake and keep hitting that reset button. Don't do that. Don't let that be you. So, Troy, what are your thoughts?
If I'm with a woman, I agree with what a lot of what Horace said. I mean, because if I'm with you, I mean, I know what it's like to add a woman, my wife, to my credit card to boost her credit score, and it worked when we were trying to buy a house. I don't mind as far as those issues, as long as I see that you're actually taking the steps to improve your situation. Versus, I never want anyone to get comfortable being dependent on me.
Right.
True. I mean, if you're with me, whatever you're going through, I'm going to be there to help you and help support you, but I'm not there to be an adult for you. You have to be an
Right.
adult, but I'm just going to help you along the way. But I have to see that effort on your part, that you want to improve. You want to get out of debt. You want to improve your credit. When I see you taking the steps to achieve and realize that goal, I'm with you. Look, we in it together. Like, no matter what struggle or issue you may face, you're not going to have to face it alone. I'm going to be right there. However, it can't be a case where you grow complacent and become 100% dependent on me, because I'm not a fan of dependency. I view dependency as weakness. So I'm gonna look at you like, okay, I'm helping you, but the steps you need to do to get into the 700s, into the 800 credit score. This is the steps you need to do to address your debt. When I see those moves, when I see behavior changes, when I see you modifying your spending habits, I'm with you. Trust me, I'm here with you, sun up to sundown.
Sounds good. Horace?
No, I mean, I think we've all said the same thing. The thing is, especially for people that are motivated and for the people that are motivated and go getters, when it gets to a point where you feel like an anchor, it don't feel like a mate, it feels like an anchor.
Yeah.
And you knowing that this person, even with all the love, is starting to slow your progress down. You're not reaching your 5-year goals, not because of you, but because you've compromised yourself trying to bring your mate up, and you don't see it happening. Those are things that you do have to have, those selfish moments for yourself.
Right.
And like I said at the beginning, this is a different era right now, because you have people that are amazingly gorgeous thanks to the doctor, but on a resume, on paper, I mean, they don't have anything to offer you as a mate. And second of all, sometimes those people don't even have attributes that you're looking for. And that's why I said this topic tonight was probably important for men,
Right.
because the man is always deemed to be the provider and whatnot. And if he gets himself in a situation after a bad relationship or a bad partner, he's going to be compromised. He might find himself for a couple of years trying to rebuild or get back into a situation where he can feel comfortable in a relationship, or filling the roles per se traditionally that may come with being the so-called breadwinner in a relationship. So I just think you gotta be selfish and look at those possible red flags, even if you don't voice them. Just to be a little mindful to look at them and say, okay, I'm seeing some patterns here, something I need to keep an eye on. Because, like you say, we're getting to a point. I've seen people in relationships that it completely wipes them out, financially, mentally, and even in a way where it destroys their confidence in other mates later on. So I do think that you have to be a little more selfish, or a little more, uh, as a man. That's just my thoughts, though.
Great conversation tonight. I think there was a great conversation tonight, and I agree with you, Horace. I think it definitely was very beneficial for the gentleman. And so I appreciate you all. Thank you all in the comments. Y'all are amazing. Corby, what if you don't have debt but a low credit score? Create a plan for yourself to increase that, because some people have a low credit score because they don't have enough credit, or they don't have enough any type of debt to pay off. Go see a financial advisor. to help get your credit score up, because there are things you can do to get your credit score up that won't hurt you, that is manageable. Just see somebody professionally and just create a plan for yourself. I think as long as you have a plan for yourself to get to where you want to go, that's what you need to do for you. But don't do it just to impress somebody else, because you just get yourself in a hole. And if you've been in a situation with somebody who, kind of drains you dry or what have you, just learn from that. Like the gentleman here said tonight, learn from it and move on. I think that there's just so much value in that. Again, for me, I'm going to steal Horace's word here, high value. I'm a high value woman, I believe. I'm independent. I do believe in, gender roles to some extent, but I come prepared to take care of me. I don't see a man or another person as a financial plan. I think that's just, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, but you're setting yourself up to fall, because what happens when that net falls completely from up underneath you? Then what? So I believe in building with a person, not on a person. I believe that if you get with somebody like Jeff, like Troy, or even Horace, who, they don't mind, paying the bills and so on and so forth, you still need to have a financial plan for yourself and not add to that burden, because you're supposed to be, like Troy said, sitting next to that person. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a dependent. You know what I mean? Don't all of a sudden decide to be a dependent person. Once you've been independent all this time, then you get somebody you want to be dependent. That ain't how this works. That's not attractive in any capacity. And so just really kind of, if you want to come up and level up and all this kind of stuff, it really depends on how you're managing your finances and how you're creating that life in that world for yourself. So I want to thank the gentleman for your candid responses. The audience, you guys are amazing. We appreciate you. We'll catch y'all in the next episode. And we thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all next time on Black Ass Conversations. Good night.